ladies and gentlemen, welcome back in our new session. This is episode 3 of the Unica Insights series. I just want to give you the recap of the previous sessions that we discussed. In our first episode, it was introduction of the insights, and in the second, it was setting up the BIRT environment. And if you haven't watched those sessions, please do that so that you can easily understand today's session. So the next part is the disclaimer. Okay. So over to you, Chitwan. So what is in the plate today? What are we going to discuss?
Hey, thanks, Rohit. We have some exciting things today. Today we are going to build a new report altogether, and I think there we will be start beginning our learning on in the bird journey. And by this end of the session, one should be able to create his own report, which will be from scratch. So I have pasted the expectation from
That's
the new
great.
report. Yep. So this report will show us campaign, contact that time, when the contact was made, then some more fields, uh, number of clicks, and etc. So let's begin. So
Perfect.
as we discussed last, if you want to build a new report, you should have your BERT development environment set up and running. And for that, we need to launch the eclipse.exe, where we will design our new report. Now, the ideology of creating any new report for your environment, basically, we suggest that you should have some templates ready uh, with you so that you can reuse it for any number of reports. And eventually, if you create 10 plus 20 plus reports, they will all look in the same UI. So I suggest you should have a template with you. In the same line, I have my own template, which I have uh, prepared for the demo, which I'm going to use for the demo purpose. Okay, let me go back to the Eclipse. Let me launch my designer. This is my project, which I have created in the last episode. I'm going to use the same. Then what I'm going to do here is, first of all, I will open the template and make a copy of it, and then I will begin my report creation. So I will open the file from my directory. This is my template. Okay, so in this template, what I have done is basically I have set up some report title, place, a simple list with some basic UI bordering, which I prefer to have in my entire reports. A place to have some footer notes. I have a database configured already, because the same database I'm going to
Chitwan,
use.
very quickly, sorry to interrupt you. So this format, it depends on the user, what type of format you want to create, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
So
perfect.
if you have such kind of template, then you don't need to define it from scratch
Mm-hmm. Right.
report, and it will
Yes,
save your time for generating as many reports that you want.
exactly. Exactly.
So
Right.
even the other advantage is, I have captured the database details here. If I don't want to share the database password to many of the people, then I can save it, and it is stored into the mask format, so it is not available to users. I can test the connection, the connection is successful here. Okay, so let me save this template for my purpose under my project, and I will say email link click. Sorry, I don't want to have spaces, so let me not have them here. The extension has to be rpt dot design. So if you check, as soon as I give the correct extension, the error which was popping up here went away. Okay, click on finish. My report has been listing here under the project. All right, I got my data source here. Okay, all set. I have one data source here, which was the campaign filter. So which is okay. I have got my parameter, which is so-called P campaigns. So I'm going to use the same parameter in my report. Now let me give you some design aspect here for the parameters. So in all Unica Deliver reports, we have a campaign filter. So this campaign filter, even in Unica, has been identified by this parameter, so-called P underscore campaigns. So if you want this parameter to work, you ideally use the same parameter name, and it is case sensitive, right? Okay, so let's begin with the report design. So first of all, I want to begin with the correct report name. I give it email, link, click, report by email ID. This is my report title I would like to have. I can keep saving my data. Now here on the title, I'd like to display campaign name, so I can read it and modify the expression a little bit, so I can have any thing which you want. So I want to print campaign name here, and the P campaigns parameter display text will be showing us the campaign name. Okay, so looking at the parameter, so when we see a parameter, so the parameter is configured as the parameter name, campaign names, and then you give the prompt text which you want to prompt. Then it's type, so I want it integer because I know my campaign IDs are stored in integer, and as soon as I do it, there are some issues, values are not specified. I can go here and drop down. Okay, I don't see the campaign ID listed here, so probably the issue is of data type. So what I'm going to do is cancel it. I'll open the query that we seen in the last video. This is a basic SQL which gives me campaign ID and campaign names. So I can go into the output columns. I can review the data types which may not be correct into the format. So let me set up them right. It should be integer. Let me review campaign name string. Okay, container ID should also be integer. Okay, so I have corrected them. All right, I can preview result. Query works fine. Say okay, save it. I can again go back to my parameter. Okay, you look at it. The campaign ID has been populated automatically, but to be in sync, I want to have integer data type here as well. So it's completely in sync. Say okay. Now this is my parameter setting which I wanted to have. Now I want to configure little bit a report query, the new report query, which will show me all those data points. So for that, I have written SQL already, which I'm going to use. This is my SQL I'm going to use here. Let me give you some background of these tables which I am using here. This UARE mailing master, which is giving me a summary of all mailings which I have run against the campaign. I have a table so-called UCC container URL. This table has all those email links which I have in my email document. I have got the table UCC response, which is storing all those responses over email and the links or landing pages. all responses coming into this campaign table called UCC response. I have table UCC envelope, which is having details of all audiences email IDs and their contact date time information. So I have written this basic SQL and I have prepared my data for this reporting purpose. You can very well modify the SQL and use it for your reporting purpose. So
So
for
basically,
now,
sorry, Chitwan, just one more quick thing. So basically, the user can pull out the any data, whatever is there in the backend and the backend database, right?
yes, and
Perfect,
we
perfect.
have system table schema guide
Mm-hmm.
available,
Right, right,
uh,
right.
and you can refer that guide to figure out which table stores what data for in the columns. So the document link
Okay,
will be available to the description. Yes.
perfect, perfect.
So if you look at, I have put up some question marks. So I'm going to stitch the SQL to the BIRT parameters filter. Okay. Now the first step I will do is I will create a data set for my report. So I'll say new data set. I'll give a name. I'll give the SQL as it is here. Now, for the first time, I mean, you want to see some data in a preview, you can remove these question marks and keep them for the second stage mapping parameters. So for now, I'm giving some input values so that I can see some preview data here. So I know I have a link which name is home. I can click on finish. I can review my columns, number of clicks, display name. Okay, all right, all looks correct to me. I can also check the display name. Let us say if I don't want to use the name and I have to modify, I can go here and edit it for the reporting purpose. I can say okay. So my data set has been created here and all those underlying fields are listing in the data set. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to now have parameters and stitch with the campaign name. So I have already my parameter which is called campaign ID. So I'm going to write a question mark here. Okay, and I'll keep this parameter also as a question mark because I want to filter on it, and I also want to filter on mailing instances. Okay, so these three things I want to filter in order to do my analysis on every email link click counts. First of all, I have my campaign parameter already set, so I have to create two more parameters, one for mailing instances and the other is for display name. So let me do that first and then I will stitch the parameter here. Okay. In order to create new parameters, you can right click on the report parameters, click on new parameter, give your parameter name here. Let's say P underscore mailing instances. If you want to prompt any text, select this. It can be one or many. It is going to be a string, and I want to have it a text box or any drop down list, whichever you want. So for now, I can have it as a list box. And if it is a list box, then it has to be a dynamic. And you need to select a query filter from where the data will be coming through. But for this demo purpose, I want to use text box only. So I will key in the mailing instance and I can move on. The next parameter I'm going to create is for my mailing link. So the parameter name I want to give is link. Name is URL. I also want it to be a string and the text. Fine. Okay, so I have got all three parameters ready here. Now I'm going to stitch these parameters to my dataset. I go to parameters tab here, and I should be very careful in terms of the order of those parameters. So the first parameter going to be campaign ID, the second parameter going to be my mailing instance, and my third parameter is going to be the URL name. So let me begin. I can click on parameters and click on new. I can leave it the default name as it is. Parameter name is param1. I know its data type is integer and it's an input value, and the data is coming from p campaigns. Do you want to update the link report parameters? Yes. Okay. Let me create second parameter. This is going to be string, I know. Again, this is an input parameter, and the parameter name will be mailing instances. All right. And let me create the third parameter. Again, input, display link. Yes. Okay. I'm good now for the datasets creation and the parameter stitching. Now I need to pull these fields into my list. Okay. There is very important point here. In your template, you have already one field here, and this field is coming from some other data set, and now you want to pull data from the different data set. So you should be mapping this list to this particular data set instead the campaigns for filter data set. So what you should do for that is, first of all, delete the fields which you have already captured into the template. Then just mouse over here and click on table, and then come into the lower properties editor. So in property editor, click on binding, and you will see here a drop down so called dataset, and change this dataset to your newly created dataset, so called email link data. Okay. So it asks, you want to clear all the previous data fields? Yes, I want to clear them. And I want to inject new data fields. All right. So if you look at here, all my fields are available into this list table. Now I can simply drag and drop here and it will be available to me. So let me begin. I want to have first field as a campaign. So what I did is basically I mouse over to campaign, drag it to slightly here into the first column, and just leave the left mouse button. Data will come up here. Similarly, I can fill the second field, third field, how many field, I mean, the way you want to pull, you can, let's say, want to pick up this field all together. You can go here and it will show up here. Now, one thing you have observed that the all fields have been ordered the way they have been ordered into the list. You may not want to have the same order as the list has. So what you can do, you can undo it and copy the field in the order which you want. So let us say I want to have mailing instances after it. Then I want to have email ID after it. I want to have contact date time after it. I want to have response date time after it. I want to have number of clicks after it. And I think should be good. I think I have missed out the URL display name. Okay, so now I want to inject this field in between these two. So what you should do is, in order to not losing the format, you can right click on the list. You can insert a column to left, and it copies the format of all cells and give you a place where you can inject your new field. So let me pull out display name as well. Now let me do a little bit formatting. I don't want all those columns which are blank. So I can select them all together, right click on it and say delete. Okay, so far so good. Now I want to do a little bit formatting. I want to have all those headers in bold. So I can select them all one by one and I can do formatting whichever way I want. Let's say I don't want to have campaign in bold. I can remove this bold from here. This report does not make sense to me, any kind of summary, so I don't want this summary row. I'm going to delete it. Now let us capture some footer note so that user can understand what data has been showing here. So the list shows email IDs and link click information, whatever a description that you want to show or communicate to the user for this report purpose. You can save it. I think I'm done with this report. Let me test this report. Okay, now we have got our campaign filter which was dropped down. So I wanted to demonstrate both kind of filters, like how the drop down comes up and how the text filter comes up. So for this purpose, I will take the mailing instance name as this one. You can have drop down as well for this filter too. And I think I know the link name, which is name is home. I click on OK. And I see this report, my campaign name, my mailing instance, email IDs. By the way, I have masked these email IDs. They were correct email IDs, but I have masked it for the privacy purpose. My link name and contact time and the response time. Now I find that the borders are missing here. Let me go back and set them up. In order to set up your borders, what you can do, you can select the entire row like this. I click over here and the entire row has been selected. I go down to the properties editor, click on border. I can select whichever color I want to use, maybe this one, and I can select the line which I want to have, and I can say a border has been set. Now, if I want to run the same report again, there are two options. I can click on this run button. Other option is I can just refresh the report using this run report button. Now, when we use this button, the previous filter set will remain as it is, and you can just click on OK. Here you go. You can see that the borders are showing up correctly. I can see the footer note. I can see the campaign name on which I am seeing this report. I find that the font is not similar. I can again go back and set the font correctly. Now I want the same font for all those fields. So what I can do is I can right click on it. I can choose the copy format and I can paste the format for display name, contact date time and response date time. So just paste the format for contact date time and response date time, and my job is done. I can refresh my report from here. All good. Now let's say I want, okay, so we see some incorrect border here. So this is because I think there are two level of borders here. One is on the cell level and the other is on data item level. So I think this border is coming from here, but I don't see here any border. So I still remove all these borders, save it, and let me test again. All right, these borders are gone. So this way you can customize your report for UI purpose as well. I think this is the whole purpose we had in this session. Rohit, any question you got in your mind?
At such nothing, Chitwan. It was pretty much straightforward, and it was a good session. And definitely, it is going to help a lot to our users who were not aware of how to create a new report or how to
Yes,
customize it.
yes, yes.
Yeah,
So what
definitely.
I'm thinking, so Rohit, what I'm thinking is in the next episode, what we will do, we will use this report and we will make very exciting use case of drill through reports. So we will customize our out of the box report. We will make it a drill through report, and then we will integrate it in Unica, and that will be the agenda for the next episode.
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, that sounds interesting.
That's all for my side, Rohit. Over to you.
Thank you, Chitwan. Thank you. This was really, again, a great session. And folks, please stay tuned for our next episode, next session, wherein, like Chitwan already described the agenda for our upcoming session, wherein you will be able to learn how to integrate the report in Unica and how to customize it more with some of the other fancy things, the drill down and all. So thank you very much for joining us today as well. Stay tuned. Take care. Bye-bye.